difficult to overstate the significance of Hassan Nasrallah's assassination by Israel. He has been the iconic leader for Hezbollah supporters in Lebanon and beyond Lebanon's border throughout the region for the better part of 32 years now. He is not only a Lebanese leader with the various sort of communal domestic consequences that derive of that for the Lebanese body politic, but he is the tip of the spear of the Iranian project in the region, the most powerful non-state actor in that Iranian axis, poised on Israel's northern border. So this is a very significant event, both domestically for Lebanon and its future, but also more broadly for the region and the Iranian-Israeli confrontation. It's going to be difficult for Hezbollah to replace Nasrallah with a sort of similar level of capable, charismatic leader that can inspire its support base at a time when they're clearly demoralized. More importantly, perhaps, there's a clear high level of infiltration by Israel within Hezbollah's ranks for it to be able to successfully carry on first an unprecedented attack on its communication networks, the pagers, and then the walkie-talkies, and then to systematically, over the course of 10 days, to decimate its military leadership, culminating with the assassination of the Secretary General of Hezbollah itself. So Hezbollah is going to have to do a great deal of restructuring in the coming weeks and months, and its future, perhaps for the first time since its founding in 1982, is in doubt. The question of Hezbollah's capabilities is a key one, because Hezbollah is the most powerful non-state actor in the world, 150,000 plus missiles and rockets, including some that are precision guided and ballistic long range. So this is a significant military actor. However, its ability to command and control protracted battle with Israel right now is very much in question, given Israel's decimation of its top military echelons and the hit that its communication infrastructure has received over the past 10 days. So whether Hezbollah is going to be able to find its balance is an open question. The Iranians are very cautious players, even though they might not always be responsible players, and seek to undermine the status quo on a regular basis. So I expect that there has to be a response, whether that response is largely performative, as some might argue the April 13th attack on Israel was, pre-messaged, maybe even coordinated, meant to inflict damage, but not too much damage, or it is something more than that. I think that's something that's going to be negotiated and discussed in the back rooms of the hallways of power in these various capitals right now, with a high level of anticipation and anxiety of the possible worst outcome, which is, yes, a regional war that is out of control. I think the temptation for Israel to carry out a ground operation is going to be significant. We have seen that the appetite for risk is quite considerable in the Israeli leadership at this point, and it has worked in their favor thus far. And so that's going to reinforce that instinct moving forward to do more, to degrade Hezbollah to the greatest extent possible. Now, the ground component is tricky because in the Israeli psyche, there's a long history of unsuccessful campaigns in Lebanon, stretching back to 78 and 82 and throughout the 80s until its withdrawal in the year 2000. I suspect that any kind of ground component would remain fairly limited and would perhaps be ordered with an eye towards it being a bargaining chip in any future security alignment or security arrangement for South Lebanon that will have to follow. Well, it's difficult for the U.S. administration not to welcome the killing of any Hezbollah leader, really, given the group's history of targeting and assassinating Americans. Certainly, the embassy bombings and the Marine barracks bombings in Lebanon in the 80s, and the fact that Hezbollah is a designated terrorist group here in the US. But behind closed doors, this is not the moment the administration wants to see a broader war in the Middle East. So there is a misalignment between American and Israeli interests and priorities at this very point. So I suspect that, at a broad public level, the administration is going to begrudgingly perhaps welcome the killing of Hassan Nasrallah, but it's very quickly is going to be sending a dual message to Tehran, one of, on one hand, deterrence through its military posture in the region. President Biden has already instructed the Pentagon to reinforce its positions as it sees fit and to protect American assets, embassies, and bases throughout the Middle East, anticipating a reaction, but also to be very active in terms of backroom diplomacy with the Iranians to try and make sure that whatever reaction is coming remains relatively contained.